And we're live.
Evening. Yay. It's Tuesday night. It's Tuesday
Yeah.
night. It's been such a busy weekend. I was away in Calgary for most of the weekend, so it's nice to get back, but it's like the week never ended last week. It just kept going. Yeah. And so now here we are doing another Mayor's Update. Did we do 2 this week? No,
Feels like
we
it.
just didn't stop in between. Right? And I know you've been doing nothing but filming and other things too.
It's been amazing.
Right?
It's been
I'm looking
busy,
forward to a new beehive this week.
Oh, the beehive this week is
Is it?
fantastic.
Okay.
It's all about Gorman Rupp.
Oh, excellent.
And we're talking about the pumps that they're putting in.
Oh, the size of the pump for the water, the pressure. Right. It's
just
and
incredible.
it's nice to be able to buy something that expensive local as part of the large project of Yarmouth Yards and what we're doing. So great.
It's pretty exciting.
I'm looking forward to it.
And there's some really nice renderings in there of the pumps. So you can actually see what they're going to look like.
All right.
And I popped some people into the video as well, so you can kind of get some size representation.
Oh, so you can, because it's a big pump.
There's 4 of them. There's 4 massive pumps that are going in.
We'll wait for Beehive and you'll get to watch it. But the reason for this is we have to up the pressure for that area to a higher level than what comes out of your tap. So these pumps are pretty critical.
Industrial pressure.
Oh, yes. Yeah. All of these industries are under pressure. Yeah. Oh, wait, I can't do that. No.
But yeah, you were in Calgary. You had an amazing trip there. You didn't get out for a little bit, though, I heard.
No, the last Wednesday night heading to Calgary, the WestJet that was to take off at 7 took off at a little after 1 in the morning. So sitting at the London airport with about every half hour saying, I could just get in my car and go home and go tomorrow. I could just go home. Yeah. And so I kind of made friends with the people at the WestJet desk and said, are we really going? Yeah, we're really going to go.
WestJet is something else, I tell you.
They're really friendly. They do a lot of things well. But this was not their shining moment.
Were they at the desk the whole time? Because I've been there and there's just nobody at the desk.
Well, I think they rotated. So yes, there was always somebody there to talk to. So that's pretty good, and that's not easy to face. Look, I've traveled and seen delays before, so I'm not the asshole that stood there and blamed the young lady with the blue jacket on that it was somehow her fault. Right? They had to fly a mechanic in from Toronto. That was the thing. Whatever they found wrong with the airplane at the 7 o'clock takeoff time. They tinkered with a bit and then waited for a mechanic to fly in from Toronto. And then, anyway, that was fun. So that got me to Calgary about 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll just say it's averaging that. And I said, okay, I've got to get to bed.
Yeah.
I've got to get up. I've got some workshops I've got to do at the workshops.
And how's Calgary doing?
Well, about 6 o'clock, my phone goes off like it's one of those child alert things, right? No, it's a water main break in Calgary. Right? I'm staying in the Marriott, right, attached to the convention center. And I woke up and I read this, and it said something about you should boil water and watch your water use. And I said, okay, after 6 hours of sleep, I'll worry about my water use, right?
So a municipal issue at a municipal conference.
Yes, I thought this was, if you were a conspiracy theorist, you might have thought, oh, wait. And it was a huge water main.
And the Prime Minister is also there.
He was one of the speakers. Singh was one of the speakers. Elizabeth May was there. It was a very good cross-country municipal convention. Municipal people from across the country. We here in Ontario have AMO, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and we tend to go to it, and that's where we can talk about things more common to ourselves. But many small municipalities across the country, FCM, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, is their only workshop they can go to. So I met people from across the country. Also ran into a lot of good old friends, former MPs, other municipal people I'd worked with in the past. So it was really quite unique to have good discussions with them.
So why are other levels of government at a municipal conference?
They're not really. This was most of the people I met were former MPs who I'd served with who are now doing like I do. They're a mayor someplace, but the Prime Minister tends to come to every one of these, as does the leaders of the opposition for the most part, because the other levels of government, both federal and provincial, have taken so much out of our Constitution into their realm again that used to be municipal duties, housing being the biggest one. If there's really only one level of government responsible for it, but the others help fund it, much like healthcare works, then I think it would be a lot better. But
so they need to be involved.
Many people in the room want them involved because they have the wallet.
Mm-hmm.
They have the money to help do some of the things that municipalities are trying to do. I know before we went on, I talked about that I saw many other municipal leaders there who are believing in what we're doing here. Growth is happening. So let's plan for good growth. Let's plan for good jobs. Let's plan for new parks. Let's plan for new roads, and are feeling very comfortable about themselves being in an area with growth.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of other municipalities are saying, well, geez, I can't do any of this stuff if the federal government and provincial government doesn't send me great big piles of money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not to say we're not asking for all the grants there are out there for infrastructure or housing, or even the industry work that the province has done with us on getting a group like PowerCo to come to our community.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I think you work together with other levels of government instead of saying they're at fault.
Right.
And I think you're far more likely to get good things done. St. Thomas seems to be in that place.
And as you said before as well, you put plans in place so when the grants become available, you have a plan you can dust off, modify, and then send in.
Right. Or we know we need one or two more indwell type buildings.
Yeah.
So we get the planning done. We start seeing where they could happen. We start working with indwell, and then we forward that on to the federal and provincial government and say, we're ready. And they go, oh, well, you're ready, then we can do it.
Yeah.
Right. And the same thing is, you talked about whether it's a recreation center or whatever else. I saw a great Canada-wide grant on tree planting. So I've mentioned that to 2 or 3 people since I've been back. We've got a lot of trees to replant that we took off that site. So if we can get help with the federal government on Canadian tree canopy, basically the program it is, then we're going to do it. So let's keep asking.
Very good. Now we're representatives from school boards there? Because I know that's one of the big concerns is building schools before we need them.
Yeah, the real answer there is no, because that's a provincial responsibility. And so at AMO this year, we'll talk again to the province about the slowness in school reaction, school board reaction. Look, they've got a big job and they've got a lot to fix, but they're not using a plan to move forward in the same way as we are.
Right.
And so theirs is more of a reactionary. Oh, we're way overcrowded here. Let's start thinking about building a school somewhere near there. Yeah, we kind of told you 4 years ago that area was going to get full and needed reaction.
Already filled in with houses at that point.
That's right. And now where do you put the school?
Then you're going to bus them, which of course is an added cost. You can't find school bus drivers right now.
Right. All of these things are right. And so that cooperative effort, but at least Minister Leckie from the provincial government of Ontario has passed a piece of legislation. Yes, but the new one will follow this same piece of legislation that said school boards must talk to their local municipalities more. That's truly all it says. And so we are starting to have far more of these conversations about future growth with our school boards. The same thing has to happen with medical. Our hospitals and our and community care health centers, right, have to have conversations with the city. We'll tell you how we're growing. We'll tell you what we think it will be. We've got some great executive studies.
This is a great segue into that.
It is. Last night at council, Watson and Associates, a great municipal study group, gave St. Thomas kind of an outline for where we're headed in the next 30 years. By 2051, it says that St. Thomas will have 79,000 people in population. Now, that's under 2,000 a year, and that's what we've been using right now for our growth. So that we know that to be good, right? We at least can now use this as a solid plan for housing, those people, jobs for those people. It says that we'll need some 5,800 people to be employed at areas like PowerCo and the other associated jobs with it, and the other jobs that will be created in town for servicing and commercial and restaurants and everything else that happens because there's now all these new people. And then what will the housing needs have to be? Well, the housing needs between now and that limit would need to be about 850 new housing units a year. It sure looks like we'll hit that this year and going forward as we get back into more single family homes because of the interest rate changes and builders going back to work. But also really talks about the high density housing we need and how we'll do that too. So it's a great piece. It is available on our website in the planning department called the Watson Report, and it will tell you how they came up with some of these numbers And of course, we've already started. We knew this was coming, but we've already started our transportation master plan, our official plan, which is how you zone the city, and a number of other plans that have to do with how do you smartly grow if you know what you're doing, how many people you're going to grow. So we've been doing it for the last 5 years. I give this council all the credit in the world for having worked together to get to where we are today, which has caused us to have great revenue generation in the industry that's coming to town so that we can afford to go out and do the rest, including the affordability side of a lot of this housing. But we, as you already know, we've talked on here, we're slightly ahead of many other municipalities on the homelessness piece and working forward still on making sure that go away. Right. So
providing the support so they have a pathway out of homelessness.
Yeah. But this gives us a key KPI, gives us measurements as to are we where we're supposed to be in 2024 if this is the reality of 2031, 2041, and 2051.
Yeah. And at council, you were talking about developing the two northern segments as well.
Right. Settlement Area 1 has already got some planning to subdivision agreements or plans for subdivision before planning, but we've this year, with knowing that we were growing at a faster rate than even we thought, we've opened up Settlement Area 2 and 3, also in the northwest of St. Thomas, because it takes about a year to generate subdivision plans and developers to buy land in those areas. So we'll start a lot of those housing numbers for next year and the year after because we've now opened up those settlement areas.
No, it's exciting. It's exciting growth.
Well, in the fact, I feel a little comfort that the report said where we thought it would be and that we're really doing those things in that area. Is there more? Yeah, every day there's more. Whether it's more childcare or more parks or more or recreational facilities. We have to. If we're going to be a city of over 70,000, we got to look a little different than a city I'm claiming right now to be very close to 50,000. So if we're going to add 20,000 more people to our community in the next 30 years, what does it look like? What does it take? What roads have to be completely redesigned so that we don't get into gridlock and make it hard? And you and I have already talked about that on here, where we said, okay, certain areas going east and west and north and south through our city have to be kept in a pattern for that to work properly. But Highbury, as you can see what we're doing in the industrial park, including the rail lines for it, and the Highway 3 bypass, will take a lot of that industrial traffic planned in 2024. Right? Not 2051 when it started to be a problem. So it's really good that we're there. So
let's swing it back to the early childhood education. Was that a part of what you were talking about on the weekend? Does that tie into that?
In Ontario, that falls under the school ministry, the education ministry, and it isn't the same in every province across Canada.
Because the city of St. Thomas does a lot of work with early childhood education.
Now, much like we do a lot of work with housing for us and for Elgin County, because we're responsible for it in our area. And early childhood education, the same thing. Through our social services, we're responsible for So we're talking about early childhood education and how the City of St. Thomas's Social Services Department is responsible for the organization and delivery of early childhood education through the Minister of Education. And so it's our responsibility to try and find new locations, new organizations like the YMCA or the YWCA or other organizations that run childcare organizations, and to mix them together in order for us to meet certain goals of how many we have, right? And there's a backlog, but There's a backlog in schools. There's a backlog in a number of things. Mm-hmm. This is where with our growth studies, we can start to say, we know where we need to be. Mm-hmm. This number, how do we get there? And so it will really help us do that. So.
And speaking of traffic, Adam Montgomery is saying he needs a helicopter. It'll help him avoid gridlock. And they're working on that in California.
Right.
There are one-person vehicles. They're in trial phases, and they will lift off, and they switch vertical, and then you fly where you need to go.
Yeah, I've seen people drive, Grayden, and I'm not sure I want to run into somebody at 5,000 feet.
This is the hard thing. This is like the difficult thing is figuring out the aviation plan for these flying vehicles.
How do you know this guy's going this way and not going to cut in front of you right?
And you can't bring a lot of stuff. So for me, someone who has a lot of cameras and tripods and all that, it doesn't quite work. But it was very interesting.
It was a great idea. Let's see if we get there. I remember in the 60s and 70s as a young lad,
James Bond,
about flying cars and how we're all going to have a flying car.
Right?
Yeah. It hasn't quite come yet, and I still fear bad drivers in the air. So,
and Adam Montgomery is also commenting on schools in terms of the fact that like the majority of the schools in St. Thomas have many portables. Right. And he's saying it, Summerside in London, they thought they had the numbers. Once the school was built, 16 portables along with it.
Well, great. And I think we have an addition going on at St. Anne's right now that won't remove all the portables in the parking lot.
Which seems crazy.
Why would you do the addition and not and undersize it? So look at as I said, they're being asked to now talk to municipalities about how to do what our plans are, what we know. Who knows St. Thomas better than perhaps us on how much we'll grow and what areas we'll grow in and where schools may need to be. Let's see if we can get this to really work itself out. But yes.
Yeah. We got a shout out from Julian Rick. Hi, Julian.
Hi, Julian.
We're doing well. I hope you are as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So council, what else were you guys talking about yesterday?
Well, we've got those two things done. Really, there was a number of other, committee of adjustment things. It was not a busy agenda, but it was a big agenda because of the Watson survey. So lots more. We have coming up on the fourth Monday of this month, where we don't normally have a council meeting. Our council will be meeting to take the next steps in our own strategic plan. Now, some of what we've talked about with growth is really deeply involved in that strategic plan of what do we have to accomplish in the next 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years. Yeah. And so we can do it if we plan and do it right. I feel comfortable with where we've gone in the last 5 years on our growth plans. Yeah. I feel comfortable that this group and the great department heads and the administration in our city can move us forward.
Got a shout out from Austin McNulty. Hi, Austin.
Hi, Austin.
Good to see you.
We haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
Keep seeing great pictures from you, but we don't get the chance to stop and say hi.
Yeah. Love his photography. He's changing out some of the skies now too.
Yeah.
It gives you the epic sky.
Yeah, he's been doing some storm stuff and
Ben Nichols. Hi, Ben.
Yeah.
Also some great photos from Ben on social media as well with his bike and the trains over by the Queso station. If you haven't seen those, check them out.
Yeah. What else have we got going on?
Well, we got Wednesday markets.
Wednesday market. I missed Wednesday market last week. Apparently, I could have been there because I sat at the London airport through all of it. Yeah. But I'm going to go tomorrow night. It's neat to see an evening market happening, especially we're starting to talk about some fairly nice weather in the next week or two, too. Right? It is, of course, Father's Day on Sunday. So for all your dads, please lay around and do nothing for a whole day. Okay, or not.
Good luck.
I mean,
I wish.
Not going to happen.
One day.
Right.
Give me 20 years.
Yes. Soon.
Yeah.
When they're old enough. Right.
That'll go by in a flash. That's what I hear.
All right.
Yeah. So, Wednesday market. I also want to give a shout out to everyone that came out for the concert at the Quaker Meeting House.
The Quaker Meeting House I saw some great pictures of how busy it was.
And Jennifer and her singers put on just an incredible performance. And,
perfect.
Couldn't be happier with that. So thanks to everyone who came out and supported the Quaker Meeting House.
Great.
We can now paint the meeting house, and we're putting gravel down. So
this was a fundraiser to be able to do some of this.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Is it quickers have this habit of giving all the stuff away, and then they're like, "Oh, we need something."
Wait, we didn't get done with it. We fundraised, and then we used it for other things.
We gave it all.
Well, it was all good purpose.
Absolutely.
But now the meeting house will get a paint job and some gravel in the driveway. That's a good way to go.
Yeah. Ben Nichols, first time catching the train there. Looks good with all the parts. Yeah, and he's talking about the new train. Is it 14? Is car 14?
Oh, the new passenger. Yes, it is gorgeous.
Looks incredible.
So it really does. And of course, we were at the 150th anniversary of Queso, and they had it parked out back, and it was really a sight to see. It was gorgeous. So great to have. What else we got going on this weekend? It's kind of, whereas last weekend had 150 events.
I know.
I don't know of too many more. Right?
I'm not in the know. Oh yeah, and I would look up my phone, but my phone battery has died.
Right. Okay.
So this is my normal thing. I'm cut off from the world a little bit right now.
I seem to have lost one of my cords, and so I couldn't charge either. So I'm not touching my phone because it's very low on battery. But, if you've got an event coming up this weekend, please. And if you've got a question we haven't answered, because I know over the last 3 weeks we haven't been able to, please dump them into the comments again, please, so we can answer them tonight if at all possible. All right.
Austin says there's a food truck event at Dan Patterson on Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
The KCCA, the Kettle Creek food truck event.
That looks great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And it's near the dog park. Maybe I could do...
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going away this weekend. I'm taking a couple of days off.
You're taking time off.
Father's Day. Well, yes, I am.
Good for you.
Yes, me and Stephanie and 3 dogs.
Back.
Sorry about
that
bit of internet. We're in council chambers where we've never had trouble with internet.
In the past month, it's been dropping out 1 minute per show.
A little bit each show, just because Joe was talking too fast.
Just keep us on the toes,
Yeah.
Beth Douglas, what can we say to people who don't like St. Thomas growing? They say we've lost that small town feel. I love the growing of St. Thomas myself. So what can we say to people who don't like the fact that St. Thomas is growing?
Well, certainly go talk to your new neighbors, because everybody who's moved here seems pretty pleased with the St. Thomas. And there's no way, and that's the thing, there's a desire to come to our area of people who want to move here because they like what St. Thomas is and what it's growing to be.
People have realized how amazing St. Thomas is in terms of its location, the people. You can hop to Port Stanley. You can go to London. You can fly from London, as long as the planes don't break down, to almost anywhere in the world.
Right. Well, and how would we stop? If somebody wants to come to St. Thomas, what would we do? I mean, I keep saying this to people. Do you want me to put up a wall? What do we do? How do we prevent people from coming when they want to come to St. Thomas? So I think we should better plan, and thank you for your question, Beth, and I agree with you. If we better plan how to do the growth, we'll get things we've never had in St. Thomas, and we'll do things we've never done in St. Thomas, because we're planning through great reports like the Watson report on our population growth and job growth. We'll plan how to do it better. So that's the answer.
If we can have healthy density in our city, we can have things that we've never been able to have before, which is I personally look forward to.
Yep. And you see the density
arts
we're having.
Events, concerts, all these things that we don't have enough population for, we will once we hit those numbers.
And we're already doing them at a scale that matches our current population.
Yeah.
But if we're at a population 20,000 greater than we are now, think of the scale of those events.
Yeah.
Right?
You can just do that much more.
Yeah.
At Montgomery is talking about regional transit. He says he heard something about a shuttle bus that goes from St. Thomas to London. So I mentioned it on Happenings and hadn't been aware. Heard it started a couple months ago. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. We've been pushing the crap out of it to tell people it's happening.
I saw that comment, and I was like,
we have the highest ridership. That route on Middlesex Connects. It goes from Dorchester to London to St. Thomas to London to Dorchester, has a higher rating on all the regional transits around us, has more people riding it than anywhere else. It's on our website. It's on Middlesex Connect's website.
Mhm.
It's on, if you just put in St. Thomas to London, Google, it's going to come up. We'll push it some more. We really will. If there's still people that don't know we're doing it or how to do it,
Yep.
we'll flood the airways.
Ben Nichols says the bus is great. Took it the other week.
Great. And everybody I've been talking to has been doing it well to get to London to medical appointments or to get to London to visit old friends.
Yeah.
Right. I've heard of someone who said, I have friends in St. Thomas. I haven't seen them in 5 years, but I was able to come. So perfect.
No, it's absolutely magical
Yeah.
that we can do that. And hopefully they'll get those bike racks.
$5.
$5, yeah.
$5, right?
You can't beat the $5.
No. Each trip there or back. So $10 to go to London, spend a day or two with friends, and come back.
Yeah.
And there's
my
like
comment
3
for
runs
it?
in the morning, 3 runs at night. Yeah.
Bike racks on the front,
Yeah.
so that you can take your bike from St. Thomas to London, hop off, and then anywhere you can bike, you need to go in London, and vice versa. If someone
Yeah, I
comes
can
to St. Thomas,
see someone from London wanting to come to St. Thomas to bike because
Yeah.
we've got good bike
have the
trails.
best
and stuff.
trails.
Right. So yeah, good idea. Or come to St. Thomas, ride your bike to Port Stanley, get back to the bus in time to go back to London. There's lots of
Totally.
things you can do. And yes, we'll talk more about it. We'll get it more on our city website, the mayor's website, all we can do. We want to tell people what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Adam Montgomery also says small town establishments and our recreational parks help keep the city feeling small.
Yeah, like if you go to Pinafore Park,
Oh.
and there isn't anything like it in many other communities. You go to Waterworks Park, and there isn't many like it in other communities.
Comment on that.
Yes.
I had the Lang family Christmas was held in Pinafore Park.
Yes.
A lot of my family is extended. They're from St. Mary's.
Right.
So they were here and in Pinafore Park, and they loved it. And they kept commenting on how beautiful it was, how clean it was.
Well,
And
and,
just-
they're right.
Yeah.
And if you've been downtown, that's beautiful and clean. I mean, we've got a
Totally.
great student team that's really
Yeah.
doing a great job on the streets in St. Thomas. I've really everywhere we go, I smile a little bit more about where we're headed and how we're doing it, and there's certainly our downtown constables and a number of other things are making our community a better, safer, and the work we're doing with homelessness is starting to eliminate homelessness in our community.
You planned it 6 years ago, and now it's starting to
Here
come
it is.
together.
The price we paid to get
Yeah.
out early and to do some heavy lifting is starting to show us that it's possible. So we just have to keep it up for a couple more years to really accomplish that built for zero.
Yeah.
We will.
Ben Nichols is saying, do we know how far along the new St. Thomas design guidelines are? I like a lot of the stuff in there.
Yes. This is another one of the overall plans, whether it's our official plan document, the design guidelines are in it with it, the transportation master plan, the growth study that we just received. These are all plans that are up and going. The new wastewater plant design plans are all things that are helping our city grow before there's a shortage, before we're out of something, before it wasn't planned properly. We'll keep going.
And you're working on the electrical side of things too, which is also very important.
Yes, and I have another meeting with Ontario Hydro coming up soon. So,
Yep, it's all pieces to the puzzle.
right.
Adam Montgomery says, you've upgraded One Password Park. We have Athletic Park, Cowan Park. I think as the city grows, we may need another large park on the other side of town towards Elmer.
I can't promise that because we're not growing out that way much. We'd have to rip down somebody's house to do it.
Hey.
But as we that was a joke.
Yeah. Ha, ha,
As
ha.
we move to the northwest, right, in area 1, 2, and 3, this council's been very clear with our planning department. Let's not have subdivision agreements of how we're going to do building in there that doesn't include parks, trails,
Yeah.
right, and connections to the other trails we have in our community. So we will, I promise you, move forward with parks as equal to roads and water and sewers and the like. And we have some great stuff that we're doing in this community.
Absolutely. And you have builders that are working towards that as well. So I can speak to like Doug Terry Holmes is very passionate about
We
that.
wouldn't have the trails we have right now if it wasn't for Doug Terry Holmes.
Yeah.
They really did force us to do it. Now, it's the right thing to do, so I can't say force it. And Doug and I are meeting this week for another conversation on what else is happening next. We've got some good stuff happening in our community. And so meeting with the builders, especially as we can move back towards single-family home buildings.
Yep. And speaking of anniversaries and birthdays, They're having their 70th birthday
next Tuesday, I think.
Yeah,
I
something
think
like
it is, right?
Yeah.
The Doug Terry Limited, Dad
Mm-hmm.
started the company way back then. So you think of all the big things and the big things they've been involved in. I guess we better also mention Lemonade Day was last Saturday. And Doug Terry's
Absolutely.
played a large role in that too.
And thank you for providing the lemonade for
Yeah,
that.
well, we
as a
don't.
Wendy's
We like to be part of the
representative.
right. We like to be part of our community too. So we think being involved in your community is the price you pay for living someplace.
Yeah.
As a business, it is. So if you're a business person and you haven't been involved in your community, shame on you. Right?
Talk to Paul or Christy at the chamber.
Right. Or talk to or pick a cause.
Family picnic.
Right. Or are you into the food bank? Or are you into join something, do something, and let your business and your employees get some that special feeling you get when you work hard with a group like the food bank who we've had here recently. Right. Just pick something that you do best.
And I want to jump in. The family picnic the chamber held was
Sunday.
Absolutely amazing on Sunday, and all the businesses that came together to put
we
that
contributed to that too, but I wasn't
yes,
here.
You did.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're having some fun.
It's the best. We have such a great group. Faye Gallagher, Northwest Yahoo Stores. Can you clarify that one for us, Faye, that question there?
The answer to Ben Nichols on the anything happening with the design competition for the railway lands.
Yep.
Right? Remember, the Fanshawe College held a design competition. Some of them are coming to council on Monday night just to show us the types of work that was done in that competition. None of these are picked as this is going to happen because we're not at that point yet with the area plan and what all can be done. But we're going to see some of what was presented at that competition, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with the folks at home as part of council on Monday night, and we should probably talk about it a little bit on the next mayor's update too. But Ben, thank you for reminding us. That's a pretty big part of this coming Monday night.
Absolutely. And final question for the evening. Adam Montgomery's asking, he says, I know healthcare is provincial. When we grow larger, any news on another hospital being built when we get closer to 100,000 people?
Well, we've predicted that 70,000 some is in 2051. I think we'll need a hospital maybe even before that, certainly before that date. So, Adam, lots of conversation happening with the medical providers in our community. And it's not just the hospital, although that's one big thing we'll need to make sure doesn't get beyond capacity. But also the number of docs we're attracting to our community, number of nurses coming to our community, and the ability to serve the people of St. Thomas. Growth requires all of these things to happen at the same time. And I do say sometimes I should have taught myself juggling because it is what's next and what meeting is next, because each of them are equally as important. Meeting a new industry that wants to locate in the Yarmouth Yards, or a doctor who wants to move his practice here, or Ontario Hydro who has to supply us with more hydro, or there's a lot of things going on. And I've got a great council who works very hard at keeping it all even.
Absolutely. Okay. I can sneak one more question in. So Faye Gallagher has clarified. She says Northwest needs shops, stores. Are they in the plan?
That would be up to developers in the stores. It's funny. People say, like we built the whole commercial area at First and Talbot. Because the developer said, I want to build a commercial area here, and I believe people will come and rent these premises if I do that. If someone is building in the Northwest and wants to have commercial development there, we wouldn't say no to it in any way. We'd say, yes, let's do that. That's absolutely the right thing to do. And as we build, we'll watch for that. But there is no builder that wants to sit with a big empty lot that nobody built a grocery store on, for example, when it could have been an apartment building housing 300 people. Right. So yes, we got to, we'll twist arms, but it's not our land. It's other people who are growing these developments. So yes, I bet we'll see a lot, especially if we're in the Northwest, that's the closest and close enough for even Talbotville to use, right? So,
Yeah. All right, we're over our time for this evening, but we look forward to answering more of your questions next week. Please join us. We'll be live at 6:30 p.m. We'll see you there, guys.
Yes,
have a great evening.